Hi everyone, Mike Holmes here. This is the Know Your Reno podcast, where listeners will hear from experts from Improve Canada. Whether you're building, designing, renovating, or learning, this podcast is for you. Improve Canada is a fantastic home improvement and education center. You can speak to multiple showrooms about your project needs. Custom furniture, decor, landscaping, general contracting. Get your tiles from one showroom and your countertops from another. You can really mix and match to have the reno of your dreams. Everything you need under one roof.
Hi, my name is Olga and I'm your host. And today we have Paul from Design to Fit Interiors talking a little bit about how to plan a kitchen renovation. Hi, Paul.
Hi, Olga. I'm very excited to be here and to give advice to anyone that's wanting to start a renovation for their kitchen or bathroom.
So what do you specialize in specifically in your business?
Well, we do custom cabinets for any part of the home. For example, the kitchen, the bathrooms, office, spare bedrooms, laundry rooms, mud rooms, and all the closets.
Right. And so if a person comes to you, if a client comes to you, what would be your first step in actually starting to plan out a kitchen renovation? Because it starts a little bit with design, right? Why don't you talk us through that process a little bit?
Well, in many occasions, people come and they want ideas. So you cannot give ideas unless you know the dimensions of the rooms and, number one, what style they like, whether it's modern, traditional, transitional. So it's very important. And nowadays we find a lot of modern designs, like clean edges, square pieces, like there's no details. So that's a lot of the new trend now. And so the first thing we do is we'll come up with some sort of a ballpark figure for what they want done, as long as they provide dimensions.
Right.
Because to go through the next process, it's quite a bit of work. You know, you have to, number one, find out, okay, you're going to do a kitchen reno? Are you going to do tiles? Are you going to do countertops? Are you going to do lighting? Are you going to do new plumbing? Are you moving the plumbing? So these are things that you have to think about, you know, before you start the project. Because many people don't even know where this is going to go.
Right.
So you have to be able to provide ideas or pricing to make sure that they're going to be on the same track, on the right track. The other important thing is appliances. So when people start to plan a kitchen, they always don't think about the type of appliances they would want to go with. For example, let's say you have a 36-inch fridge. You want a brand new 36-inch fridge. Do you want that fridge to be like the depth of the counter? Or do you want a normal fridge? Because a normal fridge will stick out like 3-4 inches past the side gables.
Yeah.
So these are things you have to find out before you start planning this.
Yeah. So I imagine for you as a service provider, one of the biggest nightmares is if a client comes to you and gives you the wrong dimensions, right? And then nothing fits.
Well, the company's name is Design to Fit Interiors.
So you make it fit.
So we make it fit.
That's fantastic.
But it does require, you know, a lot of planning. I have to do site visit.
Right.
So if somebody comes with their sizes, we can pretty much, you know, do some sort of a sketch ahead of time and give them some ideas. But the next step is we go out and measure the job, and then we provide a drawing. To do the drawings, they have to pay for that. And once they put the order through, they get that money back. So there's a small fee for the design, but that, believe me, that goes a long way.
Right, I'm sure. And so how can a potential client, or if someone who is planning a kitchen renovation, let's say I'm planning a kitchen renovation, what is the best way for me to be prepared for a project like this? Because it's one of the biggest projects in your house, and it's the one that's going to add the most value.
Well, first of all, you need to have us come out to measure the space and do a quick consultation there. And then from there is we will recommend what type of appliances that you should look at. Because if it's a small space, you don't want to get these bulky appliances.
Right, of course.
For example, you don't want slide-in stove because that takes up a lot of room. So you can get like a wall oven where you can put microwave and oven in one cabinet, and you have storage at the bottom. And if you were to go with, let's say, a cooktop, you have added storage at the bottom of the cooktop. So these are some of the things you would want to know before you start planning. And what's your budget going to be for appliances? Because sometimes the appliances could be as expensive as the kitchen.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So then there's other things like your existing kitchen if you're renovating. Okay, it has to be demoed, right? So someone has to remove the kitchen. There's plumbing involved. There's electrical involved, to unplug the dishwasher and the sink and the drain and blah, blah, blah. Those are all, you need a plumber to do some of that stuff. And then once you remove the old cabinets, you need either to dispose of them. So you have to get some sort of a bin. If you live in a condo, then we use our truck and we remove the cabinets and load it in the truck and take it to the dump or in our garbage bin. So these are some simple stuff that people don't think about.
Right.
And then it starts to add up. So a simple kitchen could end up costing you for removal, disposal, I would say close to $2,000, right? And that includes removal of tiles and so on.
So these are the costs that we don't really anticipate, right?
No.
When we're planning. Because usually what I would think about is how much are the cabinets? How much are the appliances? How much is the countertop going to cost me? And how much is the installation? But we're really not thinking about everything that we have to plan for prior to that. So how would you say is the best way to plan out a budget for especially some sort of big kitchen renovation that you're doing, or like a new construction, something like along those lines?
Well, today a lot of people can get pricing right off the internet. For example, you want tiles in your kitchen, you can buy tiles for like $4 or $5 a square foot. So you do the math on that, you'll know how much a tile will cost. So then you have the labor of removing, right, and disposal. Then you would have, to do the kitchens, you have to probably get footage price. A lot of people will give rough price by the foot. Design to Fit doesn't do that, basically. We price our jobs based on the design, the type of doors, the type of interiors, the accessories that's included in it. So that's how we price most of the jobs. Because, people come to us all the time, oh, how much is per linear foot? Okay, so you've been to Home Depot, you did your homework, you saw they have pricing there, $250 to $300 per linear foot, but they don't include things like light balances, crown molding, handles, kick plates, a lot of things you don't see, they don't include. So when we price a job, we're pricing the job with all the bells and whistles. If you're doing a new kitchen, you want everything. For example, garbage recycle, right? A lot of people don't even think about that. You want your garbage and you want your recycle bin to be close to your sink.
Right.
So these are, in every design, we include something like that in that design.
Yeah.
And
of course.
So if you start to price by the foot, you don't include things like a garbage recycle, you don't include spice racks, you don't include some of these accessories a lot of people are looking for.
Right. Yeah, I feel like I'm one of those people that if the garbage is not under the sink, I'm lost. I don't know what your kitchen is about anymore.
Yeah. Well, we have many displays in the showroom to show you different options. And,
right.
The nice thing about having a showroom, it shows people exactly what they're going to get.
Right.
And if we can't do that in the showroom, then we know the space that you have and we'll do a 3D design and show it to you.
I'm Mike Holmes. I've been trying to educate people on how to build it right, how to prioritize your renovations, and how to pick products and materials that will last. We love speaking to the Improve experts about how they are supporting the skilled trades. This is important to us, and it takes a whole community to stand behind the effort. Visit improvecanada.com to start your home improvement project the right way. Subscribe to the Know Your Reno podcast to learn more about how to renovate it right. And if you do see me at Improve Canada, please come by and say hi. Hope you enjoy the podcast and keep making it right.
So what about Now we're in 2022, and I know a lot of people are kind of thinking towards maybe renovating their homes because we had such a real estate boom, right, in 2021. And I know a lot of people are looking to do those kinds of renovations now to add value to their home. What would you say you think are going to be the biggest trends in kitchen design or bathroom design in 2022?
Well, I see a lot of the same designs we've been doing for the last year to 2 years, all like more modern design using the high gloss materials.
Right.
That's very big right now, and also it's very durable. If you use the high gloss PET material, it's very easy to clean.
What about the fingerprints?
No, not so much. I mean, fingerprints, you worry if you're doing touch latches or you just push open. But if you use really good hardware, like nice big handles, you don't have to worry. Like my kitchen at home is all high gloss white. And if there's prints, you see it and you clean it right away. But I just love the new, not necessarily high gloss, but all the modern design, the slab design fronts. Some people want it without handles, so you use a lot of the push latch system. Even the drawers, there are hardware that you just touch the drawer and it opens, and it's not electric.
That's very cool.
So there's a lot of, especially with the younger folks renovating, they all like the modern design, but we still do a lot of transitional style. So the transitional style is basically a little bit of traditional and modern design combined in one. And a long time ago, they used to have these traditional type of kitchen doors where you see a lot of details in the center and raised panel look and all that. Today, we find more and more people don't go that route unless they're renovating a country home or something, right, or a cottage. So the trend now we see is like the transitional will be more in a shaker family with a bevel edge on the inside of the door.
Right.
It allows you to still use crown molding to the ceiling if you want to. And the crown molding is not an ornate molding. It'll be like a simple molding.
Yeah.
But when you do in modern, let's say the slab look, you don't need crown molding. You just do a tight filler to the ceiling. And sometimes that could be between, 3 to 4 inches from the ceiling to the top of the cabinet.
Yeah.
And it gives it a nice accent look.
Very cool.
So, so one of the top designs that we used for last year was mostly the transitional look.
So I think a lot of people don't really want that kind of cold minimalistic aesthetic of that very ultra modern, but a lot of people no longer want it to look like their grandma's kitchen, right? That they grew up in the 90s or 80s.
Yes.
Very cool. So are there colors that you think people now tend to gravitate? Because I've been seeing a lot of color in kitchens. Usually, it's white or it's like a wood color, but I've been seeing, navy and green and everything. So do you think we'll be seeing more color in kitchen design?
Yeah. I mean, we don't go to the shows anymore. There's no more trade shows in the past little while. So you used to see a lot of that in the trade shows, but it hasn't changed that much. We're still doing a lot of two tones, like island. If there's an island in the kitchen, that's usually more of a focal piece for the kitchen because it looks like a piece of furniture. So people will tend to want to go with a color that's warm and, like in the grays and, blues and so on. So, but I find most of the perimeter kitchen is mostly in the light colors, like white, off-white, like a CC50, Benjamin Moore CC50. You get the Chantilly lace. It's a very, very nice white
color.
We've done a lot of kitchens recently with those colors. So, you never go wrong with that. People see in all the magazines and so on that's the kind of color that's in. And it's great.
So now that let's say younger people are looking at buying their first homes or their first condos, right? And we're in a very specific urban area. Like we're in Toronto and we're seeing condos get smaller. We're seeing shoeboxes pop up everywhere, especially if you're gravitating more towards the downtown area, which means the footprint has to get smaller. So the footprint of your kitchen has to get smaller. So how do you deal with a challenge where you have a very small space and someone still wants, the fridge and the dishwasher and all of that, the bells and whistles, maybe like a pot filler. That's one of my go-tos for a kitchen. I just want a pot filler. I don't even need a fridge.
Well, it's not that easy to do pot fillers in condos, right? But in homes, you could do it. Well, first of all, again, it goes back to the planning. And, for small spaces, there are lots of options. And of course, when you do kitchens in small spaces, color is very important. Like, to always keep it light.
Mm-hmm.
And you could do things like counter height freezer, counter height fridges. You could do things like a panel ready dishwasher. So you don't have to have any bulky items in the kitchen. So if you want to create that open look,
Mm-hmm.
if it's just two people living in the condo, you can do everything under the counter for most of your appliances.
Wow.
For example, if you're going to get a 24-inch fridge, right? You can certainly do 2 counter height fridges and do a counter height freezer. It's all on the lower level. So now you have that big open concept.
Yeah. And I imagine that's an open concept would be really hard to do when you're operating in 650 square feet and you have to squeeze in a bedroom and a closet and bathroom and a kitchen.
We've done a few that way.
Right.
Where people didn't want to see too much bulkiness.
Yeah.
Right. So, even creating a wall oven next to the fridge, so you keep all the bulky stuff onto one wall, and then from there you go with lower cabinets.
Yeah. And especially I think with the big windows that we're so used to seeing downtown Toronto, something like that would be really useful to, see that kind of airy open concept, especially when someone still, is either looking into the window or out of the window. You still want to keep that very, very small footprint.
Yes.
Very cool. And so, historically for you've been in business for how long now?
Well, Design to Fit has been around for 17 years.
17
I've been
years.
in the business longer than that.
Yeah, so you've seen trends come and go and change, and we've seen everything from, big houses to now smaller, as I call them, shoebox condos. So what do you think, how long usually do kitchen renovations take? And I know that's kind of a loaded question because it, of course, depends on the client and the house and the space. But if someone were to do a kitchen renovation, how long would their kitchen be out of commission for?
Well, for a home, because everything is on the main floor for a kitchen.
Right.
From the time you've confirmed the project, I would allow at least about 6 to 8 weeks.
6 to 8 weeks.
Right. The actual work will take to do the kitchen with the rental, like the flooring, the lighting, the plumbing and all that. If you want all that done, that part alone is like 4 weeks.
So that's 4 weeks of Uber Eats.
And then, yes, for sure. Then the actual kitchen, let's say if it's a 10 by 12 kitchen with an island, that's like maybe 3 days worth of work.
Mm-hmm. 2
to 3 days, including putting handles on and so on. But see what happens too is if you were to get the kitchen done by me, and you want the countertop done as well, then from the time the cabinets are installed, all the lower cabinets are installed, we can get the countertop people to come and do templating.
Mm-hmm.
Because the cabinet has to be installed before they measure for the countertops.
Right.
That process could probably take between 7 to 10 days, depending on what you choose. Because some fabricators for quartz or granite, they come, do the measuring, then they go back to their factory and they cut and polish or whatever, and then schedule the install. So the installation could be like a day to maybe a day and a half.
Mm-hmm.
So from when the installation is complete, then they have to install the sink. Sink is usually an undermount sink. And then once you get the sink installed and it's all glued to the quartz or granite, it takes about 24 hours for the glue to cure. So you cannot do the plumbing part, right? After the sink is glued.
Yeah. Because
when the glue is wet, you cannot connect your plumbing.
Of course.
So there's a process here that, a lot of people don't understand how it works, but eventually they get it.
Yeah. I think once you've been through one kitchen renovation, you kind of at that point know what to expect. Although it's always, expect the unexpected. It's going to be twice as expensive as you think and twice as long.
Yeah.
Right.
But going back to you saying your condo,
Mm-hmm.
well, condo jobs are a little bit more complex. See, when you do any kind of work when it requires plumbing and electrical, you have to have authorization from the management
Of course.
to do certain things. Then some of the worst things are dealing with elevators in condos. If it's not booked and you guys, let's say you show up there, you can't get the elevator.
Yeah.
So they have to turn back. And then sometimes if you're like 10, 15 minutes late, somebody else is using it. Too bad. You gotta wait. So condos are more complex to do.
So with condos, are there any special permits that you need or just kitchen renovations in general? Because I know that's something people a lot of the time do not anticipate is needing any sort of permits for any big renovations.
Well, with most of the rentals, you do
Mhm.
need some sort of a permit, whether it's electrical or
Right.
plumbing, right? When you're moving electrical wires and you're moving plumbing lines and so on, definitely need some sort of a permit and also an inspection.
Right.
So in most cases, people don't usually always use me as a contractor for the whole thing. They
Mhm.
just use our company for the cabinets and the countertops.
Right.
And they will have somebody that'll do the plumbing and they'll have somebody to do the electrical. But if they request it, then I bring in licensed people to
Yeah.
handle some of that
Of
stuff.
course.
And they're the expertise and they'll tell you what you need to do.
And so that's usually also an added cost and an
Yes,
added
yes.
time, right, to your
Yeah.
timeline. So that's things that you definitely need to consider when moving forward with a kitchen renovation.
See, the homeowner doesn't usually have the time to go and source all these different people.
Absolutely.
So they know that, oh, okay, so you guys are doing the kitchens. I'm sure you have other people that can handle, installation of the hood fan, the appliances, blah, blah, blah. Right? So we help that way.
Mm-hmm.
So we can get certain, even the appliance companies, they have their own installers for the appliances.
So I want to talk a little bit about, we've talked a lot about kitchens, right? But there's other areas of the house that I'm now seeing cabinetry pop in, especially, like I said, we're in Toronto, right? There's not a whole lot of closet space.
Right.
So a lot of people are now looking for wardrobes and cabinets and closet instead of a closet, right?
Yeah, so Design to Fit was in the last 3-4 years, we did a lot of, the wall bed system
Mhm.
where people convert a spare room that they have that they don't use and they make it into a usable space.
Right.
For example, you put a wall bed and then you can add cabinetry to it, like for extra wardrobe. You want a desk, you can add a desk in there. We can also add a sofa in front of the bed.
Yeah.
So it creates that, that nice homey feeling, and you utilize that room for so many different
Yeah.
options.
And I definitely think multi-use spaces now, especially with the work from home era, right?
Yeah.
They're so much more prevalent and they're so much more useful than they
Yeah.
were a year or two ago, pre-pandemic. No one was really working from home. We were all stuck in an office all day. But now I think that's changed so drastically that, if we consider the smaller footprint condo within 650 square feet where you have to fit in an office and a closet and,
Yeah.
and you don't really want to work out of your bedroom, this is definitely an option where you still have a usable space in case someone wants to come as a guest.
Yeah. Well, most of the places you're finding now, a 1-bedroom plus a den.
Yeah.
Okay, you're paying like $800,000 for a condo with a 1-bedroom plus a den.
Don't
So-
tell that to our American
so-
viewers.
So, like, what do? You want a guest room, right? And
Yeah.
that little den doesn't fit a lot. Well, we have products that can fit into that room and make it usable
Yeah.
and also looks good. It's all about using what you have, the space that you have, and work with it to create more storage for the client.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's not talk about the 800,000 square foot, or rather dollar condos for 600 square feet. We don't have to touch on that, but that's the real estate market in Toronto currently.
Yeah, well, recently we had some people come to look at a project, and the budget came in at about $35,000 to do whatever they wanted to do, the kitchen, wardrobe, and so on. So, why is it so expensive? So I said, well, think about it. You bought this condo maybe 4 or 5 years ago at a decent price. What is it worth now? So, if you look at it, analyze it that way, like all the products have gone up in price. Labor has gone up in price.
Supply chains. You can't get anything anymore.
Yeah, you have to kind of look back and say, where are we going with this?
Yeah.
Even with me, sometimes I price a job and I go, man, it's a lot of money, but they have it in their property. The money is
absolutely.
there.
And there's no guarantee that it won't have to go up, 6 months from now, because we don't know what's going to happen.
We don't know. See, most of the time now when I quote a project, I try not to go beyond 30 days because a lot can happen in 30 days. So there's a few projects where we were quoting that's not going to be ready until like 3 months, 4 months. So you have to stipulate in your contract or your quote the price is only good for a certain amount of time because you don't get products anymore.
Yeah, that's definitely a huge challenge, I think, in multiple industries, not just the renovation industry, but everywhere. We're seeing this problem pop up over and over again.
Yeah, I don't know where we're going to go with this. Sorry.
No, that's okay. And I think it's just about time for us to wrap up. So we'll leave it on a lighthearted note, right? The kitchens are going to stay. They're going to stick around. Everyone needs to eat. So kitchen renovations will always be something that people will gravitate towards. And it's definitely one of the best ways to add value to your home.
Yes. That's exactly what we've been noticing. And in most cases, every person that walked through, well, I wouldn't say every, but I say 80% of the people that walks through our showroom, it's for a kitchen or a bathroom rental.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for being here with us today, Paul. It's been such a pleasure talking to you.
It's been my pleasure.
And getting to know a little bit about what it takes to actually execute a quick kitchen renovation, which a lot of people don't consider. So we've definitely had some interesting factors pop up today.
I'm sure I missed a lot of the pointers, but maybe in another...
We'll have you back here. Yeah. We'll get you back in here. And if you want to visit Paul at his showroom or book an appointment with Improve Canada, there will be a link down below for you to book your appointment and then come see Paul for your next kitchen renovation. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Know Your Reno. If you would like to get in touch with today's speaker or any of our large number of showrooms at Improve Canada, please check the description for a link to book an appointment with us at Canada's largest home improvement center. Don't forget to keep in touch with us on our socials, and we will see you next week for another value-packed episode to make your next home renovation a breeze.